Hi! I don't edit these videos because I want them to be real, not perfect, and that just seems like a lot of time. I'm like so OCD, I could just do that forever. But today, on today's show, I'm gonna show you how to make, or I'm sure there's many ways. If you have better tips or things, I would absolutely love to hear them in the comments. I'm going to show you how I make my bracelets because you guys are always asking me, where do you get your bracelets? The silver ones I get everywhere when I travel. Everywhere. Anything I'm drawn to, you know, I like to wear that. I like to wear these and I don't take them off. I don't take them off in the shower. I like to buy jewelry that I can wear 24/7 because it just seems like a lot of work to have to take jewelry on and off. And that's just not my thing. So, yes, I'm going to show you how I make these little beaded ones, and I absolutely love them. I try to stick between a 2.5 millimeter bead to a 4 millimeter bead. 5 would probably be my max. I don't have any 5. I'm gonna say that this is probably like roughly a 3 or 4, and then this real tiny pyrite one is probably more like a 2.5, 2-ish. They're just more comfortable, and you can obviously like wear more. Why wouldn't you? So I just went to the bead shop today. Sometimes when I'm traveling, I will Google local bead shops and I will look. Like when I was in Santa Barbara, I Googled local bead shop and only one came up, and the guy told me it was the last bead store left in Santa Barbara. So I was like, cool. So I went there and it was like on the corner in this cute little ocean town, and it was like this Spanish theme downtown. Everything Santa Barbara is very Spanish theme. It's beautiful, like stucco, like Spanish, stucco looking, and then like cactuses, like a succulent type of cactus. My words are hard. Palm trees, all that stuff. So yeah, I walked to it, and when I went in there was so many unique beads, and I was like, oh my gosh. And usually they come in strands like this, and I just pick out whatever I'm drawn to. Like, I make sure it's like a natural stone. It doesn't matter if it's not, but for me, I like natural stones. I don't want plastic or glass or anything that's not like from the earth. The whole point of me wearing it is because earth energy. Super nerdy, like earth energy, okay? So for instance, this one's fluorite. This one's fluorite. And it's not gonna focus on that. But I just went into the local bead shop here in Vacaville, and I had a list of things I wanted to get, like whatever I was drawn to at the moment, which were like howlite, sunstone, turquoise, and I think those were the only ones on my list. I ended up only getting one off my list and then a buttload of other stuff that just caught my eye, right? And I'm always like touching everything because I like to feel out like what feels good to me. And I was touching this one strand and it just completely exploded all over the ground. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she was like, it happens all the time. And I was like, I bet it does. So I searched for these strands and they ranged in cost. It really just depends on what the stone is and what the rarity of it is and how nice of a stone it is. I want to say the ones I got today range from 9 to 22. And I want to say 22 was probably this new Peruvian opal I just got. She said it's brand new and it just came in. And when things are like brand new and, I was just like really excited about it because it was really pretty. This one's called Peruvian opal. She's like showing it to me, and it like goes from a very creamy white to like light blue to dark blue, just so pretty in blues. And I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. Where's it from? And she was like, Peruvian. So she could have been like, it's American opal, and I would have been like, where's it from? Because I'm like so special and I love to ask really stupid questions. And then I laughed and she laughed and I was like, cool. So I got a bunch of other ones too. I don't need to show you all those right now. I'll show you them later. But so what I do, I cut this, obviously, and then I put them in you can get any sort of thing, but I don't want them all over the ground, so I put them in a muffin tin. So for video's sake, this is garnet in carnelian, one I already cut. I already made a garnet bracelet. It's right here, so I just had extra. So now today I'm gonna make a garnet bracelet. And I buy this string at the bead store as well. Any bead store has this. So if you're ever in a town that's new, or even in your town right now, just literally Google local bead shop or local bead store, and then look at the pictures that Google posts, and you can tell if it's like what you're looking for, if there's like beads and strands all over the wall. And then when you go into it, just ask. the person that works there usually works there for a reason, because they're super knowledgeable in that type of shit. So if you go in with a list and you're like, I want this, and they're like, here it is, and they point you to it, and you're like, I want this size, and then they show you. Like, I asked her all my questions, and I wasn't afraid to just tell her exactly what I was looking for and exactly what I needed in the size and shape, and she was very nice about it. So at any bead shop, usually, or Michael's has these too. I think Michael's has beads too. I don't know if they have a lot of genuine stones, earth stones. They probably do, but they're probably more expensive because I don't know. I've never looked. But this is called Stretch Magic. And I like this type of string because it's stretchy, and I want my bracelet to fit me comfortably, but have stretch, right? So I made this one. So this is a black tourmaline, and a friend bought this for me, like a bracelet already in Old Sacramento, and the bracelet was too big for me. So I came home, because I have a tiny wrist, and most stuff comes standardized size, like 7 inches or something, and that's just too big for me. So what I did was I cut the string, and then I put them in my like little muffin tin thing to keep them from going all over the floor. And then I re-beaded them. And how I bead them is I put them all on, like if it's so if this is a clear bead, then you want to use a clear string because you don't want to see the string. If this is a solid bead, you could probably use black. I didn't mean to buy this. The guy in Santa Barbara wasn't like, hey, that's black string, by the way. Because all my beads were clear, so I obviously wouldn't put black string on like a really pretty clear bead, because like that would take away from like the clarity and the point. So FYI. So yeah, these are 2 different sizes. These 2 are 0.5 millimeter string, and this one is 0.7. So this one's a little bit thicker, and the 5 is very thin. It really depends on what the whole of the bead looks like, and sometimes I try to notice that, because when I bought the carnelian, it was on like 1 thread. And when I was trying to bead it, it was so freaking hard because the holes were so tiny, and some of them weren't even open all the way, so I couldn't even use the beads. So I basically couldn't even use half the strand to make another bracelet. So sometimes I notice if you just pull it apart, you know, and you can look, inspect, and see like, okay, yeah, the bead size hole is good. And you can ask the person there too. They'll tell you like, oh yeah, you should be able to use 7 millimeter, or oh yeah, 5 definitely works. Obviously, I would prefer the thicker because more durability, right? So what I do is I will start stringing it on here, and I'll usually leave it attached to this just because, you know how many freaking times I've started a whole string of beads and been like, I'm done, and then the whole thing unravels because like I bumped it because I'm so freaking clumsy. So usually the bead things have like this little slit down the side where you can like put the strand in there, and it'll like hold it, or it'll cut it. Maybe that's for cutting. Yeah, probably don't do that. So yeah, this actually would be perfect though if I was gonna do it, and if I did do it and cut it, I would just tie a knot in the end, because having your bead thing just like unravel is like the worst. So I tied a knot, and then I would string it, and as I would string it, I would do this on my wrist and be like, okay, that's too tight. That's too tight. I need to add 2 more beads. So I'd add 2 more beads and then put it back around my wrist and hold it tight and be like, okay, that feels just right to where I can wear this, and it's not going to give me like an indentation mark on my, I don't want indentations. So then I would tie it off like I do. I tie it off in a tiny little knot there, probably like 4 to 5 times, and don't pull it like so hard that you hulk it, because I pulled it so hard before thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna get this real tight, and then I explode the bracelet. And that's always fun when the beads go poof, and you're like, good thing they're 2 millimeters. And then you find them, or the dogs do, and they eat them. So then once I put it on, I think this one's stretched out because it's pretty loose. Sometimes that happens. But like, for instance, this one, the blue one, they're pretty tight to my skin, but not too tight where it's going to leave a mark. You can just move them up wherever you want it. Just really depends on where you want it to sit. And that's how we do it. We did that under 10 minutes. Look at us go. If there's anything I missed, or if you have any questions, let me know. Honestly, though, when I travel, my favorite thing to do is to go find new things, because new areas have different selections. So I love when I go somewhere and I can find something that's unique to the area, and then I can make a bracelet out of it. And usually each strand makes about 2 bracelets. If that's what I'm trying to do. Obviously you don't have to use it all, but sometimes it's nice to make 2. Or sometimes I will just bead the whole thing and then wrap it, like this pyrite one. is one bracelet, but it's really long, but it's wrapped around my wrist, so it makes two. Yay!